what made you decide to run for mayor?
To run business is difficult, but run business without context, without power, is extremely difficult. So everybody can, in the power, can put you in a very awkward position to put your years investments into jeopardy. So this is not my position, not just myself. It's also for my investor, or for the whole city, the Toronto, right? Because that's from bottom heart of investor, you understand what need to invest, what makes the invest works, so what makes the city works.
So are you suggesting running your mayoral position like a business?
It is. I'm talking about it. Toronto is a big business. If you understand the business, you understand everybody else's business. So you know what people need to have a business, developed.
Well, obviously there are more issues than management of funds and running a business.
Yeah.
There are a couple of issues that other people find more important than finances of the city.
And let me stop you here. In the city, one thing is political, to mobilize the people, to motivate the people, mobilize the people is more important than anything else. The second thing is the finance. Then the problem you talk about, people talk about the traffic, TEC, transit city, something like that. If you don't have good politician to motivate the people, mobilize the city, so nothing will be done. Anything you say is an empty promise, right? Everybody know we all tired of promise, empty ones. So I want to bring the picture of real ambitious, real execution, real problem solve. That's different than, everybody talk about these days, say, we have lots of issues everywhere. But the main issue is politicians. We have a leader or not. If we don't have a leader, nothing will be done.
So one of the points I took was accountability.
Yeah.
Right? But how would you better describe what your concept of mobilizing, if you can describe that in greater detail, how you plan to do that?
So that's, I will tell you this. One thing is, we cannot talk about, just, this is not an empty talk, right? We have talk, as you said, we have talked something real. I'm a new immigrant here, and I live in Toronto for 20 years. I understand what need to mobilize the people and the city. I came here without nothing, without anything. I was a graduate student in University of Waterloo, right? After that, I was a scientist. I do research.
How long ago did you come to the city?
I came here to 1992. Yeah, I came to Canada in 1990 as a graduate student, study biology in Waterloo. I came to the city as a medical research scientist, do the research. So when I come here, I have nothing. I don't have anything. I only have my degree, of graduate student. So I did not get any help from the government.
Oh,
so I did not spend money from the government.
Let's start in the early years.
Yeah.
How did you get established? How did you go on to grow this financial empire?
That's an interesting question, because I was academic and a researcher, right? So I was founded, because this is a capitalist country. So the capital and how it works. So the capital resource, so is important. When I founded the stock market investment, because I'm a businessman, right? I instantly know this is the area I should focus on.
And this is true because it's been documented that you've raised hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, oh yeah, $60 million a year, right?
Yeah.
But the first year, I don't have any background. I have two of my friends. You know, they only have $4,000. You know, they're afraid of losing money, right? They give me $4,000 to manage. Two people each get $2,000 because they are very careful. I put their own money into their own account. They have the safety they wanted. And they say, I will make you money, you know, like 10% or 8% in a quarter, 3 months.
That's an incredible rate of return.
It's a lot of them. When people see that return in 3 months, everybody, you know, comes to me from 2 investors. I got a 150 investor in 1 year. And from $4,000, I suddenly, you know, managed $4 million in the first year, 1996. So, I know what is the market. I know what the investor needs. I know how to make money on this.
Now that you, you have expertise in the business, how do you plan to use those skills in the city?
Yes, that's good. Because if you, as an investment like me, is a dynamic, real-time management, so this means I'm buy and sell ideas and know where the resource should be and where to apply for it. But actually, for the city like this kind of big, you need know the dynamic of the economy. You need to know the dynamic of the politics. You need to know how to allocate the resource, where to find the resource for you. So I came here from nobody, nowhere. So I already, you know, I raised $60 million in 3 years, and more than 200 business investors, not average investor with me. So I know how to create opportunity, find a resource, and you know, to manage the economy. You know.
So what you're saying is essentially, if you cleaned up the books of the city, you fix the business, so to speak, of how the city operates, then the other issues won't be so hard to tackle.
That's very important. Now, actually, in Canada and Toronto, the city, the books is, I feel, is very difficult for average people. Not for me. You know. For me, it's not difficult, nothing difficult. But for average people, it's very, very difficult. Because the government already become bigger. It's grow bigger, and bigger to nowhere. So to the maximum, you know, to the extreme. So there's nowhere to go then going down. So the city needs somebody to fix this. Know the city, know the problem, how to, you know, use the dynamic management to change this, you know, the landscape.
So are you suggesting that the sheer size of the government is a downhill slope because it's just taxing to feed itself?
Exactly, that's right. Because one thing is the public, you know, so people do not have the power. People only have be deployed, you know, depleted, right? The second thing is government has already borrowed to the maximum. So they already hurt investors too much. So there's 2 things has to be fixed. One thing is how to protect the public. The second thing is how to protect the investor. If you do not fix these 2 problems, you are getting nowhere to fix the problem.
When you say when you say investor, who are you referring to?
Referring to the people who to give you the money for the city municipal bonds, the government bonds, you know, all the investor, the stock market. And you know, one thing is, I tell you, nobody noticed this before, right? Now everybody talk about a currency. You know, government talk about a currency, investors talk about a currency. You know, people talk about housing. Nobody talk about the stock market. You know why? Because the stock market hurt people too much. Too many people get hurt. That's the dynamic